to me, an alcoholic was someone drinking out of a brown paper bag, living under a bridge. Like, I did not think I was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
I really believed that, I mean, not even functioning alcoholic, because I wouldn't have called myself an alcoholic in any way.
Welcome back to the Hopeholics Podcast. I'm your girl, Natalie Eva Marie.
And I'm Chad Carlson, and you're listening to the #1 addiction and mental health podcast.
And you guys, if you or a loved one is struggling, make sure you head to askevamarie.com or chaddick.com and chat with one of our AI companions 24/7.
Or text the number right here on the screen.
Together, we are breaking the stigma around addiction and mental health.
And fighting the fentanyl epidemic.
Now, let's get into the episode.
Olivia, welcome to the Hopeholics Podcast.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
It's our pleasure. We're excited to have you.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
I'm just kicking it off with breaking the ice with this is your first podcast.
Yes.
We are excited about that. We like being people's first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You always remember your first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You certainly do.
And you guys have been great. Thank you.
You're a Christian counselor?
I am.
That's awesome.
Yes.
How did you get into that?
Well, I feel like my faith has, it's the reason that I'm sober today. And I had to go through a lot of processing to be sober. And so I just wanted to be able to really help people, but also have like some sort of structure to it. And I'm just one who seeks knowledge. So I just wanted to really grasp everything I could about it so I could help more people on a more deep level.
Nice.
What exactly is, like, for listeners that are tuning in, like, what is a Christian counselor?
So it's faith-based counseling. I go through and, I help them just kind of identify different triggers in their past, things that they have, come to believe as their identity, whether it be from childhood or just like lies of the enemy, whatever it may be that they truly believe about themselves. We kind of dig down to the root, and then you always bring them back to scripture. So it's very like spirit-led and biblically based counseling.
Okay. And then do you do it like at church or how
No.
is it?
So I actually started a Crowned in Christ Kingdom coaching business.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so that's been really exciting. I've been able to help women, and I do have 3 pillars in my program, and it is healing the past, understanding and rebuilding your identity in Christ, and then walking in purpose. Mm-hmm. And it's just clients that I have, but it's not in my church.
Okay.
I could be like a counselor at my church, but I've just kind of wanted to start my own little ministry.
Sure. I love that. It's amazing. Shall we dive a little bit?
Dive.
Okay.
Take her back.
Yeah, let's go back. Where are you from?
I'm from here.
You are?
From like Mission Viejo, Laguna Beach is where I
Okay.
grew up with my parents.
Uh-huh. Are you the only child?
No, I have a younger sister. She's 4 years younger than me.
Okay. When for you, can you recall when your addiction started to like take off, or when things started to feel like not normal?
Yeah, I think just growing up, my dad he's struggled with alcoholism, for as long as I can remember. And my parents were separated when I was younger. And so my mom was a single mom. She was working a lot. I kind of had that responsibility for my little sister. And I just always felt the need to be, responsible and, not like perfect, but I think I kind of had that perfectionism in me. And so from a very young age, I just kind of went through life and didn't really understand how I felt, and I didn't take care of myself. I started drinking. We'd go riding in the desert with my dad. And so, from the age of like 12, he would let me drink in the desert. And I wasn't getting drunk, but it was just kind of normal for our family. And then I remember the first time that I got drunk was sophomore year, winter break. and we had like a plastic bottle of vodka.
Yeah.
And we went to a school at night, and we were drinking, and I mean, I got drunk, and it was the first time, and I just felt like, oh my gosh, I'm comfortable. Like, I'm not stressed out. I'm not worried about taking care of anything right now. You know, like it was me and one of my best friends from childhood, and we were with these two guys, and I was like, and like, I'm comfortable around the boys. Like, you know, I just felt at ease. And I think that's just, you know, thankfully I had volleyball to kind of prevent me. I was very into volleyball, and that kind of prevented me from really diving down into drinking and partying. And then once I got injured and couldn't play volleyball, you know, volleyball for college was out, and so partying was in, and I didn't stop. I would drink and black out every weekend in high school, just wait for the weekends. And then I went to college in Arizona, and I'm just very grateful to God that I'm alive, how I made it out of that. You know, I was in Tucson.
Okay.
And I always
U
say,
of A.
Yeah, I took one class at U of A. I mean, if you can say that. I paid a professor and got an A, but I was going to the community college out there, and yeah, it was just drinking. That was it. We'd wake up, go to the pool, and then I worked in the restaurant industry. So really my addiction started so long ago, but it was normalized because I was in college, and then I worked in the restaurant industry and was a bartender for 10 years. And so it was all just normal. And then, yeah, life happened after that, and I had to get sober.
So you grew up right here.
Yes.
What high school did you go to?
I went to Trabuco Hills.
You went to Trabuco Hills. Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
When did the wheels fall off? Because you went to college, and then, like, what went down to all of a sudden wake up and be like, I need to get sober?
Well, it's funny because, like, in college, I even stopped drinking for a period because I just would smoke weed, and I smoked so much. And that was my normal. And then I moved back home, and I can't tell you why. Like, honestly, I really do feel like God was like moving me, because I just one day I had a boyfriend of 5 years that I was living with, and I was like, I'm going to go move home. And we were living in San Diego in Pacific Beach, and I was like, I'm just going to move home. Like, I need to move home. And he was like, what? Okay. And so I moved back up here, and a couple months after that, I meet the father of my children, and I got pregnant very shortly after that. And so, you know, especially being around so many people that struggle with addiction and alcoholism, I've really heard stories of women struggling to even maintain sobriety during pregnancy. And by the grace of God, you know, I stayed sober during both my pregnancies, and that definitely helped. But that relationship was rough, and you know, it kind of broke me in some ways. And then I was a single mom after.
How old were you?
I was 24 when I had my first baby.
Okay.
My older daughter, and then had my younger daughter 2 years later, less than 2 years later. And when we separated shortly after that, and I went to work again as a bartender, and that's really when I hit my rock bottom, I think. Well, one of them, because I was sharing custody. I was in a legal battle for custody, and, you know, I didn't know how to be away from my girls. I was in the restaurant industry, like I've said, so like drinking is so normalized there, and like after you get off of shift late at night, you just go hard. And so I was just in that cycle. And then, yeah, just one night I was driving home, and I always thought about, you know, like what it would be like to not be alive anymore.
Yeah.
And so one night I kind of decided that that was going to happen. And, you know, I started praying to a God that I didn't believe in. I didn't believe in God for like 15 years, and I grew up in the church. And so I turned my back for 15 years, and that night I started praying for my babies, and I was just like, I don't know who I'm praying to, but I hope that they're going to be okay when I'm not here. And yeah, I mean, that's honestly when God kind of really exposed himself to me, and I was able to like rekindle my faith again. So that was really cool. And then since then, it's just been a journey because I didn't get sober at that time, but that was how I found God. And then after that, I became an esthetician. So I had my own business for about 5 years, and that kept me kind of sober. But really, the drinking just led to such depression. I was such a victim to my childhood. I was a victim to the relationship that I'd been in. And now, having to co-parent, and that was extremely difficult for me. And, all of these things that led up to the point where, again, I just didn't know how. I just was completely hopeless. I was hopeless and desperate, and I didn't know a solution. And drinking was just like how I would comfort myself and kind of numb out and escape. And it just got to a really dark place again where I didn't know how I was going to keep doing it. And then that was like the night before I got sober, from alcohol, I was drinking a lot. My kids were at their dad's house, and so that meant I could just drink as much wine as I wanted. And I drank a ton. I was blacked out, and my mom knew that I had struggled with like suicidal thoughts. I don't know if I can say that. Of course. My mom knew that I'd struggled with it in the past. And so I don't know what I said to her because I was blacked out, but all of a sudden my mom is sitting on my bed in my bedroom, and I'm just crying. And I'm like, Mom, I'm an alcoholic. I need to go to rehab. And my dad is an alcoholic. And so I didn't know what an alcoholic was because he would have never called himself one. And so I didn't know what an alcoholic was. And my dad had been to rehab a few times, and he'd go for, 3 days, 5 days a week, and then come out and like buy a luxury car or something as like a congratulations present, but still be an alcoholic. So I was like, well, obviously rehab doesn't work either. And so I just had like such a messed up view of being an alcoholic, what that meant. But that night I said it, and I was like, I'm an alcoholic and I need help. And so we called a rehab, and I mean, I hardly remember this. I think I answered a couple questions like an intake person. And I called my best friend after, and I was like, I just got off the phone with a rehab. Like, I'm an alcoholic. Like, this was so crazy to me. And I had an event at church the next day. It was Baptized California. And so I went to that, and that's when I got baptized and delivered from alcoholism. And since then I've just, it was the rooms, it was the sponsor and all of that. But yeah, it was just a long journey to rock bottom.
So you never actually made it to rehab?
No. And I was like kind of upset about that because like I had my babies. And so I was like, I can't take a week off. Like, and I didn't want their dad knowing, like, back then it was like, I just didn't want him to use any of this against me. Sure. And, now it is what it is. Like, I'm not the same person, but I had a fear of leaving my babies, and like, I just felt like I had to be responsible and be there. But so I was always like, oh, all you guys are so lucky. You guys got to go take a week off.
A week?
Like, yeah.
Shoot,
30 days.
Some of us do like 30, 90.
I know.
If you're like me, I was court mandated for a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, damn. So that's really what brought you to your knees was a blackout at one night, emotionally, probably at the time spiritually bankrupt, even though. Because you had reached out to God, and this is how He works, right? It's never like this is happening overnight. No. It's gonna be a little bit of a process to get us to where we're at complete and utter surrender.
Yeah.
And You surrendered that night. And then, I mean, you basically did the first step, because like, what is the first step? We admit, you know, and that's the hardest thing for an alcoholic or an addict to do, is just admit that they have a problem,
Right.
a disease.
And I didn't know any of that. Like, to me, an alcoholic was someone drinking out of a brown paper bag, living under a bridge. Like, I did not think I was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
I really believed that, I mean, not even functioning alcoholic, because I wouldn't have called myself an alcoholic in any way. Wine was just a way for me to handle life.
Yeah.
And it was normal, especially in my family, to, like, I come from a family of, entrepreneurs. And so I was like, well, it makes sense. This is how you take the stress off. And little did I know that it was slowly like killing me mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And I struggled with that, because I was like, I have God. Like, God is bigger than this. Why am I so stuck? And I think it was me admitting, okay, like, I am an alcoholic. And I didn't even know what that meant yet. But and I'm really grateful for the program.
And that's like one of the reasons why, we do this podcast, is because the perception, society's perception of what an alcoholic is, and it's so stigmatized.
Right.
On top of that, it's like, first off, everybody thinks that the alcoholic is the person, the bum with the brown paper bag who, is homeless, but that's not even close to true.
Right.
It's you.
Right.
It's me.
It's your best friend. It's your spouse. It's your teacher. It's your loved one.
It's your next door neighbor.
Yeah.
It can be your preacher at the church,
or your son, your daughter.
Yeah.
And that's what we want people to know, because without that, you don't ask for the help.
Right.
And if you don't ask for the help, you live in this insanity of, a hopeless state of mind. And like, I don't want to be there anymore. And I found a way out. And that's why like Natalie and I recover out loud now, because we want people to, I lost my son-in-law to the disease, to fentanyl. And, that's really why the podcast exists, is because after that happened, God had put it on my heart to be a voice for the people that have lost their lives, because like 300 people are dying every day from fentanyl.
It's crazy.
It's insane. But if you add in people that die from fentanyl, other addictions, alcoholism, that number is over 750,000 people a year. And then you add in the diseases that come from the disease of alcoholism or addiction, that number goes up over 1 million people dying every year from, this disease, which is treatable.
Right.
It's chronic and it's progressive, but it's treatable. Like, I didn't have to get loaded this morning to come do this podcast, and neither did you.
Yeah.
Then we get to walk through like our fears and our anxiety, and get to share our experience, strength, and hope.
Right. And that's part of why I want to encourage women to be sober, because I think a lot of people, like you were saying, anyone can be an alcoholic.
Sure.
I mean, it can be the moms at the pool who, like, when I first got sober, there was a mom who like tried giving me a drink. And I mean, that thing was like a Yeti filled of vodka. I was like, whoa, like, I thought I was the only one. But, drinking is, and I've said this on my Instagram before, like, there is such a toxic culture that motherhood almost needs alcohol and like to just get by and get through it. And it's like that for me, I felt the exact same way, but being sober has given me, I used to pray for like just presence with my kids, patience, and like just to be with them. And sobriety has given me that, because before I would use alcohol to cope, but when I didn't have it, the mental obsession was me irritable, waiting till it was socially acceptable to pour a glass of wine. And there's people who think that that's normal. And I just like want to help people, because since I've been sober, I've truly discovered like happiness. Like I am patient, I'm present, I am fully there with my kids, and I love it. And like they see such a happier mom. And you know, like you were saying, it could be your kids who struggle with this. And so I want them to know that sobriety can not only be a choice that you make for yourself, but it genuinely opens up your life to so much more. And I think that that's really when we start walking in our purpose, is when we don't have that heaviness and that weight on us, and we aren't hopeless anymore. Like, I was so hopeless when I was drinking.
I think like you hit the nail on the head, because growing up and just like watching from a media standpoint, from movies to TV shows to commercials, it's so glamorized, and the marketing behind alcohol, or what that looks like, or even on family shows, it's like the mom's running around trying to cater to everybody, and then as soon as she can, it's like, I can breathe now and have a
Right.
glass of wine, or whatever beverage,
or a pill,
you know,
like
something.
because it's acceptable to, you know, take Xanax and Adderall and, you know, all these other prescription medications, because we have anxiety in society today, and like it's not living. And I'm not here to judge people that are living like that, because if they're first off, if they're saying they're happy, I don't necessarily believe them, because I've been in that altered state of mind, and I know what it's like to be completely clean of all mind altering chemicals, mood altering chemicals. And like, I know it, like, this is life, you know, and so many of them are doing exactly what I do, and their disease may not have progressed as far or as fast as mine, but they're still trying to fill that God-sized hole with a glass of wine. They may not even have a problem like we have a problem, but are they truly there and present for their children? Because I watch people now, when I go to family events or whatever, as soon as I see them get a alcoholic beverage in them, I see the change in them, because I'm sober. And all of a sudden they're a little bit different, you know, and their mood gets lit, and another couple in there, and then they think they're funnier, or they get angry, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I just, you know, I would just hope people could just give sobriety a shot.
Yeah. And I think that sobriety, you know, because there is such a stigma about being an alcoholic, I think that sobriety is truly for anyone who doesn't need, or who doesn't want to feel like they need a substance to escape, or to have more fun, or to breathe. I think that, you know, sobriety can just be a better way of living.
Yeah.
And for me, I have been on anxiety medications before, and when I was drinking, and I used to wake up with just like panic. And like, I'd wake up and like, even though it's not like I like blacked out the night before, just me drinking, I'd still wake up and be like, oh my gosh, like what happened? What did I do? I'd have like,
Where am I? Where's my car?
Right.
Where's my keys? Where's my wallet?
Yeah. Like, who did I text last night? Like, did I
What'd I say?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh
The
my
worst.
gosh.
It's horrible. It's a horrible feeling to not know what the fuck you did the night before. Like that alone, and we sell that shit legally.
Right.
Like put that like in your hemisphere to like really comprehend of like the severity of that. You have a cocktail, a beverage that we sell and we market so freely to all ages, and glamorizing something that shuts off your brain, where you have no concept of what you said, where you were, and what you did. But let's go do this.
Yeah.
Now they throw in there, just drink responsibly.
Yeah.
Just, okay.
Just to remove liability.
Yeah.
Right? Like, totally. It's like, when you really like stop and think about it, it's actually really insane. And then you break it down even further into like detoxing and rehabs in your facilities. It's like that one substance that we sell and we market so freely is actually for the actual real true blue, like code 5 alcoholic. If they were to stop on their own, they will die.
Yeah. That's insane. That's something that I didn't know until I really got to talking with people in the rooms and just people who had been to detox and rehabs.
Yeah.
And that's truly scary.
Right.
I mean, by the grace of God, like I was drinking a lot.
Yeah.
And it got really bad towards the end, where like earlier and earlier in the day was I like, I really need a glass of wine right now. And when I was baptized and delivered of alcohol, just alcoholism, I didn't have any withdrawals. I didn't even have a hangover. I mean, God truly, like, miraculously got me sober. And that was a gift that from that point forward, I was going to maintain.
Okay, wait, I want to back it up because it's amazing. And it's like obviously a clear testimony of like what God can do in someone's life because you didn't go to treatment. You didn't go to rehab. What was it that all of a sudden, because you had turned your back on God for 15 years, and then what, besides the despair and the pain of you like turning and feeling some type of something in you to call out to somebody that you didn't feel that was real or existed, but what laid it on your heart to turn to God and then get baptized and kind of go really heavy in that area or that arena?
So there was a period of time between when I was going to drive my car into a tree and until I was at Baptized California, when I had that night where I was just like desperate again. And in that period, I really started diving into my faith. Like, thankfully, I had two family friends that I grew up, I call them brothers. They are both pastors. And my sister was working at the church.
Oh, wow.
My mom worked at the church most of my childhood. So I was surrounded by people who had very strong faith.
This episode is brought to you by Wolfpack Bags. This gear is meant for anybody gym, lifestyle, to anybody that's on the move. I mean, I like to say that us here and everybody that tunes in, we're not average. We're always a wolf. They have all the goods that you need, especially for anybody that is looking for a bag to carry their meal prep, a lunch pail, anything like that. They have you covered. So once again, go to wolfpack.com, use the code Hopeholics, save 10%, and join the pack.
And I was able to go to them and ask all my dumb questions. Like, I don't think there's any dumb questions when anyone is coming to me asking about their faith, because I was like, well, what about the aliens? Like, what about dinosaurs?
Sure.
Like, make it make sense to me. And so I would ask these questions, and they were so graceful and just patient with me. So I found my faith, really started diving into it. And I think that drinking just prevented me from, like, I was going to protect my drinking almost. Like, I was going to still pursue God, still love Jesus, but also drink and be hungover going to church on Sundays. And so I was kind of living that life for a long time. And I just think that it's really, really hard to have the life that God wants for you when you're also struggling, like deep in your struggle with addiction. And so for me, it was hitting that rock bottom again. So I struggled being an alcoholic and having my faith. Cause again, I was like, God is bigger than this. Like, I don't know why, but I didn't know what was wrong. Like, I didn't know why I couldn't stop drinking. And I think that it really came to a head when, again, I just didn't want to be alive anymore. And, it's crazy how I would justify, like, my babies will be okay. Like, it got so crazy in my mind that I was like, you know what? Maybe they'll be better off without me. Like, maybe everyone in my life will be better off if I'm not here. And because I wasn't in control of my life anymore. And I was just doing what was in front of me and struggling to even do that. And so when I finally hit that rock bottom, I already had my faith, but I didn't know what else I could do. So I was just so desperately calling out to God, like, I will do anything if you just make this so that my children don't have to grow up with a mom who's an alcoholic. And I know that I had a lot of stuff in my past, just like daddy issues, if you want it, like, for lack of a better term, that really was my identity for a really long time. And so I didn't want to, have my children have a mother who struggled with alcohol and just the way that it would make me be, like, impatient, like I hung over in the mornings, just not what I wanted to be. And so I just cried out in full desperation. And I mean, I got baptized and I was like on my knees, like bawling. And I had two of my girlfriends there with me, and they had their hands on me just to give me comfort. And I was just pleading with God, like bargaining basically, like I'll do anything. Like put it in front of me and I'll do it. And one of the women that I met that day was my girlfriend, Kat, and she's like, all right, let's go to a meeting. And I was like, no, like, I'll go with you tomorrow. Yeah. And so that was on a Sunday, and Monday night was my first AA meeting. And I was like, still wrapping my head around the fact that I had called myself an alcoholic, because I was like, I don't know about that. And I went to my first AA meeting and I was like, oh my gosh, like I was hearing people share and I was like, I'm not alone. Like I'm not the only one who has experienced crappy things. I'm not the only one who feels misunderstood or alone. I'm not the only one who has used alcohol or substances to cope and to breathe. That's like how I always used to say, like, it's like my exhale when I would start drinking wine. And, after a few more meetings, I was like, oh my gosh, like I found my people. Like, and I just really felt like a sense of belonging. And I just really appreciated the fact that I could go in there, I could share my crazy, and they were like, all right, we got you. You got to be sober. Like, hey, we're going to do this, but you're not crazy. And so, from there, it was a cool experience. I've loved everything about the rooms, and just sobriety has been life-changing for me.
What year was that?
A year and a half ago is when I stopped drinking alcohol. And then that was too easy because God just took that straight from me. So I stopped drinking immediately. Like I had like a gag reflex when I would think about alcohol. Like it was like a tequila shot went down wrong and I just could not take another one. And then I was sober for a few months, but I didn't know that you couldn't smoke weed. And so
I love that. So innocent, right? Like, bro, like I'm an alcoholic. And it says in the traditions, the only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking.
Right.
Like,
I'm like, I belong.
Nowhere in there did it say I need to quit smoking weed.
Yeah. And I didn't smoke a lot at the beginning. Like I would just smoke before bed. And then, I'm really grateful for this experience because I stopped drinking alcohol. I was like, oh my gosh, God delivered me. God is so good. I got this. I'm done. Like I never want to drink again. And then I'm smoking weed and I was talking to someone in the program and they're like, you're not allowed to smoke weed. And I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, you should probably talk to your sponsor about that. And I was like, oh shoot. And so I go and I tell my sponsor and she was like, you can't be smoking weed. And I was like, I only do it before bed. Like, I'm not like addicted to it. Sure enough. I mean, it was like that day I became addicted to weed. And like, I grew up smoking weed. I would have told you to grow up if you told me you were addicted. And so all of a sudden I'm addicted to my little G pen and smoking it nonstop to the point where, again, I was like obsessive about it. Like I felt more comfortable in my skin when I was high. And it's not like I was like, head in the clouds. Like I was just normal to everyone else. But I was very obsessed with it. Like I needed to know that I had it before bed that night. I would always make sure I had like a backup. And it got to the point where I was like, dang, like I can't stop smoking weed. Like this makes me feel normal. And so I feel like I was blessed with that experience because I really understood that it was my brain. Like I always needed something to cope with myself, to calm myself down, to feel normal. And, thankfully, like through just work with God and like healing and really diving into my faith, I've been able to find that peace that I've been looking for, but I didn't have it yet. And so I smoked weed a lot. And then I was like, oh, dang, I got to stop that. And it took a few months. Like I was addicted to weed. It's crazy.
How did you stop?
This is crazy. Well, I don't know. So I had a deliverance session with a couple who has a deliverance ministry.
What does that mean?
It's like, it was crazy. So you like go through your whole life and you like they ask you a bunch of questions. It's like deep therapy. Like, have you ever struggled with addiction? Have you ever struggled with lust? Have you ever struggled with whatever? Have you ever been involved with witchcraft? And you go through, and it's like a list of like at least 50 things that they ask you. And then they start praying. And this guy just like really started praying for me, and, you know, was just saying like, you know, we're getting rid of this. We're not going to do this anymore in Jesus Christ's name. And that was, you know, the day before that was the last day that I smoked weed.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe all that stuff, and you have to believe it though. And like,
Right.
because think about it. Have you ever played with a Ouija board? Did you ever do that? Like I did.
Oh my
I did
gosh,
too.
that's scared. I would never.
I did.
Oh man,
Oh, yeah.
I was a little like church kid, man. I grew up in the Seventh Day Adventist church, and us. I mean, we're the worst kids.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they'd be like, like the Seventh Day Adventist was like, you know, like no jewelry, no makeup, wedding rings okay. But like even my mom wore a wedding band. Yeah. For years. And, you know, they go to church on Saturday just because of the Gregorian calendar, and God rested on the seventh day. There's a lot of Jewish stuff in it.
Okay.
But it's Christ based. Believing in Jesus. But we do a lot of the old traditions of the Old Testament mixed in with, you know, the New Testament. But we was like, Ouija boards was definitely the devil. The psychics are 110% the devil. All of that.
With like Catholic Mexicans, they will totally believe.
Yeah,
as
same
well.
thing.
Yeah,
Kind of like
same.
Catholic, a lot of that. And so, of course, you know, they tell us we can't do it, and what are we going to do?
Yeah,
You're
We're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Totally.
We want to see.
Why, of course, me and you play
like we wanted to see if, like, you know, the Ouija, if the thing would go by itself.
Did it?
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. It's like it did, but you open. So
but you believe it, so I feel like we pushed it too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I always say, and there might have been one person pushing it, you know, more
So,
than
like,
the other.
I mean, because it moved for me to, or like when I played too.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like we all contributed to it because we like wanted to believe that either whether they're demons or ghosts or some fuckery is going on, you were in it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, I also believe that you're opening up
Oh, that's true.
yourself to
Scary.
one of those demons coming in you, and you know,
Which is why the whole psychic thing is why it's supposed to be, is because you're like opening up these, you know,
portals where demons can come inside of you. That's what my religion taught us, and there was a scare tactic religion too.
Yeah.
You know, and now today I just like kind of call myself a follower of Christ, and like in the name of Jesus, everything's okay. You know, that's what he was for.
Jesus is Lord, Jesus is King.
Yeah.
That's all. It's a wrap for me.
Yeah. Amen. I've seen him like do amazing things in my life. Like I've been healed. I've been delivered. I mean, and it's all just blatant black and white.
Sure.
Like Jesus Christ in a moment changing my life. And so
He often shows up at the 11:59
Always.
hour. Like you're like, oh man, I'm not sure. I'm starting to question this, and then bam.
because you're in full surrender in that
You
moment. Your
Oh,
desperation, you're like, Jesus, take over.
Yeah.
Like
Many times I've been there. I try not to go there anymore though, in that full like I try not to. My faith is stronger though, because he showed up so many times at the 11:59 and 59 seconds.
Yeah.
You know, like the whole world was about to fall apart.
Yeah.
And then there he is.
Yeah.
But I think that like that tested my faith, and now my faith is so much stronger. I'm just like, I just keep going forward, because the thing that I believe is that the devil can't read our thoughts. He doesn't know what we're thinking. He can't really control anything. All he can do is throw in distractions to try to distract you. He knows our vulnerabilities. He knows our weaknesses, because he can see that. So then he tries to throw stuff in. And if you like get your faith really right, I'm like, when I start seeing the distractions, I'm like, oh, I'm doing something really good right now. So you just keep jumping over those distractions, get out of my way, and I don't allow them to hit. I mean, occasionally I do, and I'm not perfect. I'm definitely have my weaknesses still, but I my faith is like, especially over the last 2 years, because it was tested a lot ever since she showed up on this podcast. Right? I mean, it was like right before when the shit hit the fan for me.
Oh yeah.
Or no, it was a year later. It was a year later.
No.
No.
It was right before and during and after.
Yeah.
Lots were going on in your life.
We're Christians that cuss, so we apologize.
No, that's
for
fine.
that.
I'm working on it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
kind of-
not.
I go through phases though where it's
Yeah.
like sometimes I'm like, ooh, I need to kind of clean up my mouth a little bit.
Yeah.
And then
And then she says the F word.
yeah.
That happens.
I've gotten significantly better in like the last couple weeks.
Emily, how am I doing? I think better.
Am I doing better?
You guys seem fine.
We
I feel
I
like
thought she
used-
cussed a lot, like on the podcast, and then her and our old guy Lewis, they ran a
They counted it.
They ran a little check through the transcripts.
Yeah.
And apparently I cussed them.
Yeah, he took
Oh.
the cake.
Yeah.
Yeah. So F it. No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm not working on it, because like my thing is that what I do for a living, I'm trying to reach I'm not trying to reach the people that are already saved.
Right.
Those aren't the people that, that I'm going after. They're the people that are in the weeds, in the
Still
fire,
stuck in it.
stuck
Yeah.
down there, and they actually need to hear me say fuck sometimes.
Right.
Like, I know the way out. Follow me.
Yeah.
I've been there.
I love that.
Those are the people that I'm trying to, help out, because I know what it feels like.
Right.
Because
I feel like my tattoos do that for me.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
I have
I'm
quite a few.
Sure.
sleeved up.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about it, that's also what's like for a very long time, and there still exists, is like what why so many people have an ill connotation towards religion and church is because of humans, because they'll see you as a woman tatted up, or him with his tattoos, or us dropping a curse word here or there, and then want to shun and turn away for their own moral grounds, because Jesus
Was hanging out with us.
Yeah.
I mean, he goes to the broken. He goes
Right.
to the hopeless. He goes to the ones that need healing, need the help, So it's like, that's why church and religion, sometimes I understand when people have like such a ill feeling towards finding Jesus or finding God because of the church. But the problem is not Jesus or God. It's human.
Right.
It's not.
We
even,
are
it's
the
not,
problem.
It's not even the church. It's not the church.
No.
It's
Right.
oftentimes
It's the
us.
It's the individuals.
Us
It's the,
individuals inside. But see, here's the thing. The other part about Jesus is he did go after the broken, but he also went after the righteous.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
that was the other part of his, ministry was, hey, you guys are actually wrong. I'm the Son of God, and let me tell you that that's not how we treat people.
Right.
Those laws are broken.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I always say, like, I almost want to like apologize to people who've had a bad experience with a Christian, because I'm
Yeah.
like, please don't judge
Totally.
Jesus based on human behavior. Like, it's not the same.
It's
Yeah.
not the same at all.
And so many times, like, if you look throughout, from the beginning of time, like, God takes people and makes warriors out of
Oh,
people
for
who've
sure.
lived in wreckage.
Yeah.
Like, there is, it makes our testimony stronger. Our experience make us that more, empathetic to people living in that state and stuck and hopeless. And so, like, I'm grateful I was talking to my mom yesterday. I'm grateful for all the stuff I've been through. It kind of makes her sad, but I'm like, no, like, I think that, God has turned all of it into a blessing for others. And I feel fulfillment when I'm able to help others and relate to them and get them to open up and be vulnerable, because that's how you help people. Like, that vulnerable space is where, Jesus really shows up.
Yeah. For sure. And you broke the cycle for your girls. So I mean, it's such a important thing to remember, because your alcoholism could have kept going, and that cycle could have kept going inside. And it doesn't mean that one of your children won't have the disease, but they'll know that there's a solution.
Right.
Yeah.
Like my daughter has the disease. She knows there's a solution. She knows that she can come to dad for anything.
Right.
Like anything.
Right.
There's nothing that dad hasn't done, felt, seen, and my daughter knows that. My son too, but my son doesn't have the disease.
Right. I think that that's something that I'm grateful for too, because like I've experienced a lot of life. So I'm like, my kids are not going to be able to get away with anything.
Right. That's true.
Just to make it
Yeah.
way harder on them.
Yeah.
for
But I
sure.
also understand, I've made a lot of mistakes. I've lived with a lot of, grief. And so I know that there's hope. And in me, that is Jesus. And that's why I try leading by an example of living that lifestyle. And that's why I really have dedicated my life now to walking in that purpose, because I feel called to help women, understand their self-worth, their identity, understand, who God is and who God says they are. And so that's something that I want to be able to show my girls, that sobriety is, it's not that you're not going to have as much fun. There's, you don't have to drink to have an amazing life and actually love yourself in a way, love who you are and how God is using you. And that's what's really important to me. So I want to show them that they can live a God-driven life sober, and it can be absolutely beautiful and fulfilling. So
Purpose.
Exactly. And I want to help other women do that too.
Yeah. Purpose is the most important. Like, we all have a purpose, and everybody's purpose is basically the same. It's truly is. It's to be of maximum service to God and others, right?
Yeah.
That's our primary purpose as human beings, to help one another, serve God first, and then help one another. And people don't I feel sad for the people that don't know that. And what that looks like is different for everybody. Somebody's purpose could really be just being a school teacher, being a fireman, being a cop, being those things, and being of service. And it doesn't have to look like my purpose or her purpose or your purpose, because I kind of feel like our purposes are very much align on the same. You have your ministry, she's got her own little ministry, and then I've got mine, and then collectively we have the Hopeholics Podcast, which is probably this podcast for me. And I've done a lot of really cool stuff in my life, but this podcast for me has been like probably the most fulfilling thing I've ever done, and that I get to continue doing, because the masses that we reach now compared to, and it aligns perfectly for what I've always done, which is my purpose has been to help people that suffer with the same thing that I suffer from, which is this thing in between my ears. It's not really the disease of addiction. That was just my solution to this thing that lies to me and wants to kill me.
Yeah.
And wants me depressed and sad and broken, and, which is really just the devil lying to us.
Yeah. I feel like, what you were saying, I feel like we all have the same purpose. I feel like we're supposed to serve God, love others, and point others to Jesus through the way that we live our life. But I do feel like we all have different callings and assignments.
Yeah.
And that makes us the body of Christ, hands, feet, mouth, ears. Like, we all have different ways that we serve, but it creates one body. And I think that that's what's really cool, is when you help other people, we all have the same purpose, but when you understand their gifts and, like God-given gifts, then they're able to walk in their callings. And that's what leads to fulfillment, in my opinion. And just like a close relationship with God.
You know what's crazy about those God-given gifts? Oftentimes, at least in my experience, my God-given gift is the one thing that I fear the most and I don't want to do.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the enemy trying to prevent you from doing it. So he put puts fear in your mind, or, delay, distraction,
Don't do it.
disobedience. Yeah. He uses these tools that he has, because he can't control you, but he can make comfort more appealing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, like he can make you want to seek validation from others rather than God. And there's different things that he does that prevent you from walking in your purpose. And so it usually is he'll use fear. And that's something that I've struggled with, self-imposter syndrome. I mean, there's so many things, but God's always with you.
Always.
My number one fear is public speaking.
Same.
Isn't it? It's, I swear to God. And it's crazy too, because she wrestled in the WWE, right?
Yeah.
Like out there in a WrestleMania, 110,000 people, microphone, very uncomfortable outfit for me. There's like no way I'd be getting like you just think like I'm not getting out there in a Speedo. Are you kidding me right now? Like that's the man side, but you're in like a bikini, not like really. I don't really call them a bikini, because bikinis are teeny. You could
Pretty
be
teeny to be
covered
rolling
up.
around like that.
But she would do that, right? And then we go out to like an event, and we're like both like freaking out, like, oh my God, we're about to go up on stage. What are we gonna do? So of course we made a pact a long time ago. Pact. Is it a pact?
Yeah, pact.
A pact, not a pack. That we would pray together before we go up, and that we would ask God to speak through us, just use us as a vessel, to be able to take our testimony and our tests in life and turn it into the testimony, and hopefully reach somebody in the audience. And we're actually really good at it.
Yeah.
But the little secret that everybody in the crowd doesn't know, which I tell them because I want them to know, like, because they see me up there looking comfortable. But if they saw me 2 minutes before I walked on stage, they would know that I'm having a freaking nervous breakdown inside.
Yeah. No, when I walked in here, they're like, "Oh, you seem so calm." I'm like, I don't know why. I'm really nervous right now.
I'm tripping.
Yeah.
Like,
No, seriously.
and here I am. The one thing that like God, put in my life, because what happened, and for me, this is how it ended up, being the surrender moment to like utilizing my gift, is when my son-in-law died. And it was like, I told God that I would do whatever it took to not have to let another family. And I know I'm not completely fulfilling that purpose, but if I can do anything to stop somebody else from having a day like we had, I'll do it. Even if that means I get up in front of the entire world and embarrass myself. I don't care, because it's not about me anymore. It's about the fact that, his parents had to go through something that no parent should have, and it was their only child.
Oh, God.
My daughter had to go through something that a 21-year-old shouldn't have to go through, finding the love of her life. She was by herself, panicking because she knew he had been using, and she couldn't get a hold of him, couldn't get in the front door of the house. By the time she ran around to the back of the house, she already knew what she was going to find.
That's heartbreaking.
But that's this disease.
Totally.
And that's like what's out there as well, like with the fentanyl epidemic that's happening, and these kids that are buying stuff off the streets, or not even off the streets, because you can't really trust anything anymore, because everything
Literally
looks exactly
Like a Percocet,
yes,
like a Xanax,
an Adderall.
We had the come full circle. Like, I'm a convicted felon that took the Orange County Sheriff's Department on a nice run, chasing me multiple times. To have the head of the Orange County Sheriff's Department sitting in your chair, talking to us about fentanyl was like, I mean,
That's really
amazing
cool.
for me.
Yeah, that's really
And
cool.
he, he's 7 out of 10 pills that are found on the street, and it's probably more now.
That's so crazy.
7 out of 10 are fentanyl, and out of those, 7 pills, many of those pills are a lethal dose.
Mm-hmm. Well, because it's barely anything.
It's like a grand
That's
sand.
lethal. Yeah.
2 grains of salt.
That is so
lethal.
ridiculous. It's terrifying as a parent.
Yeah, I was just
Terrifying.
gonna say, how old are your girls?
They're 8 and 10.
Yeah.
And, they've seen the before and after. They're
Sure.
old enough to know to just even read my body language
Yeah.
or how I would speak to them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, my 8-year-old is very much like, when I first got sober, she was like, oh, like, you're not getting a bottle of wine? And I was like, that was like a stab to the heart. I'm like, you are so normalized by me getting a bottle of wine at the grocery store that you're surprised that I'm not. Like, that was crazy to me, and it hurt. And, now she, like, I talk to my daughters pretty openly and honestly. They go to a meeting with me at my friend's house on
nice.
Wednesday nights. Like, all the kids go in a guest room, and they have little besties
Yeah,
there
yeah,
now.
yeah.
It's super cute.
They're like, whose mom's more fucked up?
Thankfully, none of them are old enough to know yet, but yeah, pretty soon. And it's really cool because, like, some of those, it's just cool to be around moms too. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes that's the only meeting that those moms can go to
Sure.
that week because they can bring their kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I go, and they know that it's a meeting, and I just say it's because I don't drink anymore. And I've told them, like, I'm sober. And so my little 8-year-old, she's like, I'm going to be sober. And I'm like, I love that for you. Like, she's like getting to know that I don't drink anymore, and she sees a happier mom.
Yeah.
And so I love that. And
I love that too, because like so many, it's more often than not the opposite way. We normalize the fact that how they were being raised in the beginning, it was normal for mom to have a bottle of wine.
right.
And you know what that means is that when they get older, they're going to have a bottle of wine.
Absolutely. That's why I thought drinking was so okay, was because I grew up around it.
Yeah.
I like, this is kind of bad to like admit, sorry, Dad, but like, as long as their drinks were full, mine could be.
Yeah.
Like,
Sure.
at like 13.
Yeah.
Right.
I was the bartender, and so I learned to pour a real stiff drink, and that's just what I thought drinking was.
Yeah.
Like a splash of chaser in your drink, basically. Splash of mixer. And, that did not lead down a good path.
How's your relationship with your dad right now? I know that could be a loaded question, and
Well,
answer
it's
it however you
a lot,
want to
man.
answer it.
Unfortunately, he struggles a lot. He's still struggling, and his alcoholism has led to, pretty severe physical, like, health consequences. And so, he is in a physical rehab facility, because he just had some surgery because of his alcoholism. And, it's very touch and go. Our relationship has been difficult, since as long as I can remember. He was very focused on work. He was a successful inventor, entrepreneur. And so that was always kind of his priority. He thought that that's how he showed me love, was just spoiling me.
Yeah.
And financially. And I wanted his attention. And I never really got that. So it's really sad to see alcohol just consume someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, he was very successful and very well off. And he lost all of that because of his drinking. And, now it's easy for me to be grateful that I was able to get sober, because I've seen him my whole life struggle with it, and not even necessarily struggle. Like, it's not like he was trying to be sober, but I've seen now in the last few years his desire for a better life, but he just feels stuck and hopeless,
Yeah.
and he can't get a grasp of this.
Yeah.
And so I'm extremely grateful that I had the support that I did around me when I decided. And I'm just grateful for my relationship with God, because that is really what saved me.
Mm-hmm.
And then thankfully I had the tools around me and the friends and the support to maintain my sobriety. Because I really do believe that sobriety is my gift from God, and I just have to live my life in a way that I am grateful for it, and I don't take that for granted.
Yeah.
Well, we'll pray for your dad, and
Thank you.
You know, my prayer is basically that you know, I hope that your dad sees what sobriety has done in your life, and maybe you know, through the grace of God, it'll spark, because I've seen that happen many times.
Yeah.
And, you know, just a loved one getting sober and seeing the change in them and seeing that it's possible, because that's the part that is where you know, we get stuck, is the fact that it's impossible and it's not going to work for me.
Right.
But sometimes when you just see somebody close to you, because the exact opposite happened to me in my disease. I was like, always like, oh, if I ever use a needle, I'm a scumbag. And
Right.
and then all of a sudden my cousin came over who wasn't a scumbag, and he was the one that, and that's how he used it. And he was like, oh no, this is the cleaner way to do it.
Right.
You know, and I was like, although I didn't use with him that day, it made me start thinking that, oh, well,
If he
It
does
was
it,
fine. If
He's-
exactly.
he's doing it.
which for me, it was the best thing that ever happened to me, because, not the best thing that ever happened in my disease, because it progressed my disease really fast.
Right.
And a lot of bad stuff started happening to me because of that. But I've also seen the exact opposite, where, you know, a wife gets sober or a husband gets sober, and next thing you know, they're like, wow, you know, maybe I can too.
Yeah.
And that's all we need, is a mustard seed of hope that we can, you know, get out of this state of hopelessness.
Right.
You know how sad that is to be, and I know you do, because you've been there, to be in a state of complete and utter hopelessness.
Right. For me too, it wasn't like drinking was never the problem. Like I was in a state of hopelessness, but it wasn't because I was drinking. Drinking was what was it was helping me get through that hopelessness.
Yeah.
But you know, drinking was, like you said, the solution for me, and I never thought it to be a problem. So I didn't think that I needed to stop. I didn't know how I would ever live without it.
Yeah.
Because I thought life was coming at me rather than me living. I mean, like I said, I was very much in like a victim state of mind.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was just how I was getting through it.
Yeah.
I never thought that it was a problem that I, you know, like that I couldn't realize I needed to stop drinking. Like my mind was so messed up.
It's so important for that message that you just said to be heard, because that is where most of us feel like, you know, I didn't even know that anything else existed. I just thought this was how I was going to live. I on the other hand, knew I was an addict, because like when you're like a drug addict and you're sticking needles in your arm, but I didn't know that there was a solution,
Right.
other than sticking the needle in
Right.
my arm.
Right.
Because again, for me, I felt different than everybody else from before, as far back as I can remember. Like I didn't feel normal. So the first time I actually did a line of meth, I was like, and I hear that, you know, alcoholics say this too, is like, I arrived all of a sudden. I was like, just like you talked about in the beginning, you were like, all of a sudden you were able to, you know,
I was
talk
comfortable.
comfortable,
Like,
and you
yeah.
could talk to the boys. And that's what happened to me with meth. I did
Yeah.
that line, and I was like, oh, this is how everybody else feels all the time. This
Right.
is what's missing from my life, which was it's the lie that we get told. You can call it the disease, you can call it the devil, you call it whatever you want, but it's the big lie that keeps us going for I mean, some of us until we die,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's why
You
we're
know,
the
the
lucky
ends
ones.
are always the same: jails, institutions, and death. And I'm a big fan of Alcoholics Anonymous because I truly believe that this was a gift from God, and then also a way to sneak him in, because so many people that have the disease have been either religiously abused,
Yeah.
don't believe in it, whatever it is. Right. And like walking into church isn't going to be the solution for them. But they got it right a long time ago in Alcoholics Anonymous. This isn't really a disease. It's a disease. It's a spiritual malady. Like we are all, I think, us that have it, we're super spiritually sensitive. And like I said in the beginning, we're trying to fill this hole with everything that only God can fill.
Right. Yeah. I love the program for that reason because, you know, I know that there's people who rely heavily on daily meetings, working the 12 steps, being in not constant, but daily touch with, you know, their sponsor and 3 other alcoholic addicts that day. I don't necessarily work my program that way. I'm very grateful that, again, I had the support that I had. I was able to walk in that room and not feel a part of, like, or I guess I felt a part of that group because they just understood my, like, mental and emotional struggle that I was solving with alcohol. And I love the people. Like, I genuinely think some of the most amazing people, some of the most, like, spiritual, like, just warriors are in that room because they have hit desperate rock bottom and seen God just save them and pull them out of it. So, like, their faith is so strong and I love it. But for the people who in those rooms who don't have God yet, I relate to those people because I grew up in the church. My mom was a missionary. I would travel around sharing my testimony in different countries. Like, and so it was very, like, I was very religious and then I was just not. I mean, you were not, I always used to say I would, like, gracefully deny other people's faith. I'd be like, I love that for you, but, like, it's not for me. And AA and the rooms just have a beautiful way of opening the door so that people are able to find and experience God on their own. Because for people like me who were just so against it, it's like, okay, we're going to, like, baby step this, basically. Like, just say that you're not going to be so stubborn and closed-minded. Like, just open your mind a little bit and let's see what happens. And so I pray that everyone's God that they find is Jesus in those rooms, because I feel like that's what they need to really, you know, you just need him.
Take it to the next level is what that does. It takes it to the next level.
Well, you're actually connecting with God, in my opinion. And so, you know, I think that the program does have, like, a really cool just way of opening people's minds up a little bit just so that they can experience God.
Yeah.
I agree.
I agree too. It's you know, I like how it was written. I believe it was written by the God that we talk about.
Yeah, there's biblical references in the AA book.
I hate to break it to everybody, but it is, like, full force. Like, the Bible is in the AA 12 steps. It really is. It's just done really, really good.
In a way that I believe,
you can digest.
I mean, for me, it's done in a way that I believe that Jesus was doing it when he was out ministering
for
to
sure.
the what do they
to
call
the tax collector.
What do they call them in the New Testament? The Gentiles.
Oh yeah.
The Gentiles, because we weren't, you know, I don't think I was, you know, I don't know what I was a descendant of, but I would have been a Gentile for sure.
For sure. For sure.
I would have been a Gentile and a heathen.
Yes.
That would have been me. But that's where Jesus was hanging
That's who
out.
he broke bread with.
That's who he broke bread with.
Exactly who he wanted to kick it with.
Mary Magdalene. She was a prostitute. you know?
I think that it's really cool that God can use, the outcast or whatever. And because I think we just have a heart for going back and helping others who are in the situation that we were in. Like, I think we have like this motivation and this drive because we've experienced such darkness at such depths that we want to help other people. And I think that's an incredible purpose for an incredible calling for a lot of people who've struggled with addiction.
Well, I think it goes even kind of like heavier too, because like Jesus is on the cross and he's saying, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're like, forgive them of their sins because they don't know. And it's like he's getting crucified. He's dying on the cross at that moment. It just goes to show like, who are we as human to not, and it's a difficult time in my life to project that. But who am I to not give grace and mercy to somebody because I'm definitely not a perfect person.
Right.
And so it's like, and the only reason I'm saying it is because it's like literally currently the Bible verse or the chapter that I'm on currently today, this morning that I read. So that's the only reason why it came to my brain. But the mercy that he has for people that are doing him so wrong when he is so innocent is even more like, weighs on my heart heavy because it's like, damn, I want to like resent some motherfuckers out here.
Anyone specific that you want to announce
like,
on
I
this?
have a reason to be mad.
You know what I mean? I'm like, God, you should know.
Is there anyone specific that we can bring up today on this podcast that we can help you get through that resentment? Maybe pray for you. Is anyone? Because she actually has a ministry specifically for women too, which is really dope. I kind of want to close with that. But,
yes, please pray for me. I need prayers.
Because she does have a resentment, and I'm not gonna. I know it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of I'm going through a divorce. My ex-husband.
Oh, you're not going through a divorce.
Okay,
I'm you are divorced, legally divorced, but it's not. Just because you're legally divorced doesn't mean it ends there.
Oh yeah.
Thankfully, y'all didn't have children.
Yeah, because the financial burden is killing me.
Yeah.
I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah.
It's just like, and we don't have kids. So it makes me resentful because it's like, it's time to grow up and be a man and go get a job and go live for yourself and stop living off of others,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that time has come to a close.
But see what I'm saying? Do you see that anger?
Yeah.
And I'm going to therapy and I'm in the fucking program. So it's like, this shit isn't easy. And it's like, I try to be extremely like reserved when it comes to like my personal life in that regard, but not anymore. I mean, it's like whatever. But also transparent with my recovery.
Yeah.
It's like
she was trained because you know what, Natalie is different than me. I'm not a celebrity. I'll put my fucking shit out there and I don't give a fucking no. I'm sorry.
I do too, though.
Sorry for cussing so much, but I really don't with it when it comes to this kind of stuff because the truth is like TMZ is not going to pick up anything I say.
Right.
They don't care.
Yeah.
What Chad says, but sometimes, she says stuff.
The magnifying glass that it is.
Like the hate comments can come. TMZ can come, like that doesn't happen to me. So she's been trained to like be much more reserved and not put like other people's business out there.
Yeah.
But at this point, I don't feel that you do Jonathan any wrong for the most part. You're just speaking your truth right now. And you know what? You're walking through this divorce in the public eye, and I do believe you're doing it with grace.
I'm hanging on by a thread.
But you trying is good, because you could just say,
for sure.
Yeah, she could
screw it and burn it all down.
And I haven't
burn it to the ground.
I really haven't.
Yeah.
Not yet. But
Jesus working.
You know what I mean?
But it is on this podcast today.
I'm like that bitch on fire. But I'm just saying, it's definitely one of those things where, because we do have the podcast and because we are pretty transparent with like our personal lives to a degree, and because we are sober, we're walking in this thing the best that we possibly can. We always say that we do not like, yes, we both like attend like AA meetings, NA meetings, CA meetings, a ton of 12-step types of meetings.
But we are not representatives.
We are not
of those
at all.
programs on this podcast or in any public forum that we talk.
Totally. And we also believe that there are many facets and many ways for people to get sober.
Right.
Just where I also believe, like, I would never shove Jesus down anybody's throat. Like, of course, I'm going to share my testimony and speak on what he's done in my own personal life. However, like, I believe that whatever somebody's belief in a higher power is, so may you be. Whatever works for you. But also, same with sobriety. Like, many people are sober that work a way different program than me. Some don't work a program, some go to church, some do many forms. Like, you have your 3 pillars, you have this, it's called Crowned in Christ, right?
Yeah.
Which is really, really cool. A 30-day. Wait, does it say, is it free?
No.
Okay, I was gonna say, wait, what? Emily. I was gonna say downloading right now. No, I'm kidding. But for people that maybe don't want to go to AA or anything like that, there's so many options. And I think that's a beautiful thing for people to also understand, that you don't have to do what Chad and I do. And we don't even do the program perfectly. We work our own programs the
way I work the program might get somebody else loaded.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah.
No, totally.
For real though.
I'm not gonna lie, because like sometimes, like, there's that old saying in the Narcotics Anonymous book that when the pain of remaining the same outweighs the fear of change,
right.
That's when, like, I usually put pen to paper, because I'm like, oh shit. Like,
I'm like, oh, I should go to a meeting.
My choice is, like, at that point, I'm like, you're either gonna get loaded, or you're gonna do some work,
Right.
Yeah.
Because when that pain gets to the point, we reach out. Or we don't, or we hang on to the bitter end.
Yeah.
And that is, I'm not willing to be the old Chad anymore. I'm not willing to suffer the consequences of that anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, for me, it usually becomes emotional, some type of an emotional pain. Like, I'm holding on to something that, like, it's almost always my business these days, holding on to something that God might want to take away from me.
Right. And I think that it's so, like, there's so much hope in the fact that, like, we can be made new.
Yes.
Like, we can be new
For
creations. And so I don't have to even, part of, like, working the program that I'm only on step 4. Like, I do not work a great program. Like, for me, I decided, like, if there was a Bible study or an AA meeting, I was going to the Bible study. And that's what keeps me sober, is my connection to God.
There you go.
And I lost what I was going to say.
I hate that.
I know.
But actually, the important thing that you said was that, your connection to God.
Right.
Because here's what I believe. You can go to a ton of meetings. You can be at a meeting every single day.
Oh yeah, that's so true.
And not have
totally.
Just be white knuckling it.
And be
not have
miserable, terrible,
not
wanting to
have
kill
God,
yourself.
Yeah.
Wanting to kill yourself. Like, because whenever I share in a meeting, I share that, hey, this meeting right here, this is the fellowship. This isn't even the program.
Right.
The program is in the 12 steps.
Yeah.
And the 12 steps are really basic and simple. It's trust God, clean house, help others. That is the simplicity of the program. So first we find, God, and literally step 3 uses the word God. I mean, it does say, as we understood him. I understand him to be the God that I've always known and grew up with. So for me, that step's really simple. And then we, like, go to work. We take our eyeballs out and we put them in backwards and we look at ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be in any form. The steps are amazing, but like there's so many people do it so many different ways. Therapy.
Right. Oh, that's what I was going to say, is that when you're able to look at your past, and like for some things I was like, when you're going over your resentments, and I was like, I have a very valid reason to resent this person.
Yeah. Are you talking to me?
That's how you feel right now.
And like sometimes it was like, no, I was straight up a victim in this situation. Like, what are you talking about? I have to find my part. Like, but I love that, my part was still holding on to it.
Totally.
And making it so that it was, in my brain or like affecting the way that I was living. And when I fully was able to accept what had happened, accept, their part and forgive them, then I could just move on. And like, honestly, that's the grace of God, because it's hard, sometimes I'm like, no, I just don't want to forgive that person. I don't think that it's okay what they did.
No.
But I mean, that's when Jesus comes in. I'm like, thanks.
It is.
I needed that.
I mean, and for me, that was one of the hardest things, because like I was molested as a child. How do I forgive that person? I was a victim.
Right.
But, but I held on to this resentment for so long, and a resentment, so everybody knows, and I'm sure they've heard me say it before, resentment is like me drinking poison hoping it's going to kill you.
Right.
You don't even
That's
know.
so true.
You don't even know I'm like mad at you.
Right.
Because I'm like resenting you. It's for my whole life, up until, I don't know, like close to my 40s. Like I just would picture myself sticking a gun in this person's mouth and pulling the trigger and feeling good about it, and like ridding this person of off this planet. And, through the grace of God and through everything that I've done, like, do I ever want to see this human being again? No,
Right.
Absolutely not. If he does this to another human being, do I hope that something bad happens to him? I mean, God will take care of it for, I don't have to.
Yeah.
I don't have to be the one.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that I find a lot of comfort in just knowing that God fights your battles for you. Like,
Yeah,
and
I've
seen that play out. Like you were saying, him coming in at 11:59. Like I have seen God handle my battles for me when like there's been situations and I just trust in him and I'm obedient and I do what I think he's calling me to do and behave how I think he wants me to behave. And, doors have opened, or even doors that have slammed shut. I know that it's for a reason. And looking back, I can see all of it happened for my benefit, because I am where I am today. And it's so much different than where I was. And it's because I've decided to be sober and really follow God and Jesus.
Yeah. So I kind of want to end on your ministry. Tell us just a little bit about it.
So I've just felt for years that I've wanted to help women, and I want them to feel confident in themselves. And I truly believe that everyone has God-given gifts, God-given callings and assignments. And when we walk in that purpose, we feel fulfilled. And I want women to feel like they're living fulfilled, purposeful lives.
Yeah.
Like that is true joy. And I think that that's what God calls us to do. And I've been able to do that for myself. And I just want to really help and mentor women to be able to walk the same, like their own path.
Yeah. Nice. Beautiful.
Yeah, I love it. And it's really cool to just see the growth, like it takes a lot to heal the past, like get rid of those resentments, like understand the identities, the part of your identity that you've brought up since childhood that is not who God created you to be. Like you also, just like, you can't judge a whole church based on one Christian's behavior. I mean, like our parents are human too, you know? And so I think when we're able to go to God for who we are and just our purpose in life, then we're able to find such freedom and true happiness and fulfillment. And I think that everyone is kind of searching for that.
Yeah. Well, beautiful. Thank you for coming and sharing your testimony and your experience, strength, and hope.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
God is good.
Amen.